Residents who evacuated are now allowed to return to their homes after 3 offshore earthquakes triggered tsunami warnings in the country. Philippine Ambassador to New Zealand Jesus Domingo is on the line to give us an update on the situation of Filipino residents in the area. Ambassador Gary, good morning. Could you tell us how many Filipinos were evacuated since the tsunami warnings were raised?
Kiara, magandang umaga po, Charles. Okay, well, we only have estimates of the affected Filipinos kasi unang-una po, New Zealand has a very good civil defense. So it's not like, crisis areas where we have to have exact count. But our estimate would be at most just a few dozen or low hundreds, if ever, at most, of affected Filipinos.
All right, Ambassador Gary, how strong were these earthquakes and what were the hardest hit areas?
Okay, well, actually, the earthquakes, there were 3 earthquakes, but they were offshore. So the mainland of New Zealand was not affected. So we just experienced some tremors, but you should have probably read the 8.1, 8.5. That was way offshore, several hundred kilometers offshore of New Zealand. But the effect would have been the resulting tsunami. Right. Requiring then the evacuation earlier this morning, New Zealand time, but the authorities said, oh, okay, things are okay now, people can start going home. But people are still on alert, just to avoid being near the coastal areas in the northern part of the North Island of New Zealand.
All right, do we have any news of possible aftershocks or maybe its effects?
Well, it's always possible, but you can't really predict that. But it doesn't seem to be it's not very likely. And again, the effects, if ever, would be the tsunamis, as what has happened. But right. The main tsunamis have passed. But since there were a sequence of earthquakes, it's entirely possible there could be some more. But again, these things cannot be predicted certainly. But we are on alert.
Right, you guys are definitely still on alert. But then, has the Philippine government reached out to the affected Filipinos in the area? And what are the next steps you're looking at?
Well, on one hand, we have 80,000 Filipinos in New Zealand, and half of them are in the northern part of the North Island. Auckland City has about 40,000 Filipinos, but Auckland City is about 100 kilometers away from the evacuated areas. So, by and large, New Zealand has a very effective civil defense. So the embassy does not have to make its own arrangements with our kababayan here in New Zealand because they're well taken care of by New Zealand civil defense. Nevertheless, we are urging Filipinos to please register with the embassy. We are urging Filipino community organizations to register with us. But otherwise, we are in good touch with the Filipino community through social media, through our own Facebook page, through our website, and we have very good community Facebook pages where we have active outreach.
All right, thank you for your time and stay safe. That was Ambassador Jesus Domingo.